Hi everyone, this is the Splendid Sampler so along with Jenni Smith. Greetings from Calabria in the south of Italy. I've flown out here on Tuesday straight from the Festival of Quilts in England, so I am doing my block on the go, hand sewing everything, and I like this week's block. When you look at it, I looked at the picture a couple of times and totally didn't understand how it came together, and then I read through the 2 pages of the instructions with the applique circles, a bit cathedral window style, and then it made sense. So I have gone for just quite a simple colourway. I cut up my pieces before I left England last week, and I've just been stitching them in amongst everything today, and hopefully some tips as I piece it together. So the video's coming up now, and thanks for staying with me, and I'll see you soon. In this block I am changing my colours up, so I'm actually using the pink as the centre, which is the cream in the block on the photograph, and then in place of the navy I'm using this Poem Blossom print by Liberty. And I'm not actually going to do my circles different colours, I'm just going to use this nice mid blue for those as well. So I'm keeping it a little bit more simple, but I think it's a really pretty geometric design as it is. And so this is the start here, sewing first of all these shorter rectangles to the 3-inch centre square, and then add in your 2 longer rectangles on. Because I'm on my holidays, I am drawing my 1/4-inch seam allowances old school with my ruler and a pencil and stitching by hand. So essentially I've made the centre block, and then I've made 4 of these little units where this is what goes into the centre, and then if you're doing different coloured circles, then this square and this rectangle would all be different. What you then have to do is get your freezer paper, so you trace the circle exactly to that size without seam allowance onto freezer paper. So obviously drawing on the smoother side, not the shiny side, is easier with a pencil, and cutting it out, and then you're going to fold the circle into 4 so that you've got an exact centre. And then the idea is to make 4 of the units with these squares with the freezer paper circle. And what you need to do is on the wrong side ensure that the centre of the circle and the lines here, the folded lines, line up with the seams. Now the instructions recommend you press all your seams open, but I do prefer when I'm quilting to press my seams one way I've pressed towards the darker fabric. So I am going to put the centre of the circle and just ensure it lines up there. I've got the shiny side of the freezer paper down. If in doubt, you can just pop a little pin through and ensure that it's coming through in the right position. And then you're marking these lines with your stitch lines here, and you're going to press that down, and then we're going to cut out the circle 1/4 inch bigger. So I've just pressed each freezer paper circle now onto the wrong side of my blocks. You've got to make sure obviously that your freezer paper is shiny side down when you press, and that's the right side there. And so I've been aligning, as I pressed I aligned the centre with the pin, and then I ensured that the creases from folding the circle into a 1/4 matched up with each of my seam lines here. And again, the hand stitch this time just because I'm on my holidays and I don't have a machine. So you're able to align them at 3 points. The last one, obviously you haven't got a halfway point there, but you can always finger press the halfway mark if you need to. So that's now ready to cut down to 1/4 inch round and press under to have your applique circles, or you can use my applique trick like in the Milk and Cookies block and cut down the seam allowance and then pop it in some tin foil and press. I have pressed around this with the freezer paper. I've then removed the freezer paper and pressed again, and then I'm positioning it onto the block here to applique each circle. In terms of alignment, what you need to do is ensure that this corner here, when you go through, is aligned with the corner there, and also then that these edges meet so that the white touches the white, and that will be the correct positioning for each circle matching the corner. So I'm going to pop a couple of pins in place. I like to baste my applique and then go around and turn it under, as I go. When I'm putting these circles into position, I would always baste the contrast corner first so that you can ensure these lines match here. And also just be careful when you're basting before you start needle turn appliquing that you're not pulling the background square. So I would always just keep my ruler handy as well and just keep ensuring that that's staying to 6.5 inches. Also, if you're doing a lot of work by hand and you're going to think this is going to fray quite a lot like in some of the earlier blocks, you could make that original rectangle, these rectangles and the square 1/2 inch or so bigger and then cut it down to size, because that wouldn't affect the overall design. Okay, so this is my block. It's not finished, it is all basted down, so where there's little bumps and lumps around the applique, when I actually go in and stitch that properly with my Aurifil 828, then I will make sure those disappear. It kind of reminds me of Orla Kiley, the Irish designer who's got a lovely exhibition on at the moment at the Fashion and Textile Museum. It's kind of very simple design, perhaps with different coloured circles it might be more effective, but I think it looks good. This is the Liberty Quilting cotton from the English Garden range, and then the new Orchard Garden that's coming soon. So I'm going to finish it tomorrow, and I've got some good light and trim the block down to 6.5 inches, but I hope just seeing how it came together with the separate pieces is useful to you as always. Thank you.